The amazing adventure of flying, a fun journey through the skies. Once upon a time, not too long ago, crossing the big wide Atlantic Ocean would take even the fastest ship more than a week. Can you imagine that? But today, you can fly across the same ocean in less than 7 hours. Isn't that cool? Airplanes are the fastest way to travel because they can soar above everything: mountains, oceans, and even the tallest buildings. Did you know the jet engine make the fastest airplane go super fast? Like faster than the speed of sound. Imagine flying at over 1500 miles per hour. That's more than twice the speed of sound. Even regular airplanes zoom through the skies at over 500 miles per hour. But how did we get all the way from slow ship to flying at super speed? Let's take a look at the history of flights. The story of flight, from dreams to reality. A long time ago, in the 1840s, there was a brilliant inventor named Sir George Cayley. He built a glider that could carry a person in the sky when it was pulled by a rope. Sir George Cayley was a pioneer English engineer, inventor and aviator, often regarded as the father of modern aeronautics. Long before the Wright Brothers, Cayley identified the 4 fundamental forces of flight: lift, weight, thrust and drag. In 1799, he designed the first concept of a modern airplane with a fixed wing, a separate tail for stability, and a propulsion system. Cayley built and tested several gliders, and in 1853, one of his designs successfully carried a human, a major milestone in aviation history. His work laid the scientific foundation for aerodynamics and modern aircraft design, making him one of the most influential figures in the history of flight. But it wasn't until the early 1900s that 2 brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, made history. Orville and Wilbur Wright, known as the Wright Brothers, were American inventors and aviation pioneers who achieved the first powered, controlled and sustained flight in a heavier-than-air machine. On December 17, 1903, near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, their first aircraft, the Wright Flyers, flew for 12 seconds over 120 feet, with Orville piloting the first flight. This historic moment marked the beginning of modern aviation. The brothers were self-taught engineers and bicycle mechanics. Through years of research, experiments and innovation, especially with wing design, control system and propellers, they laid the groundwork for practical flight. The success was not just in building an aircraft, but in mastering flight control, making them 2 of the most important figures in aviation history. But wait, there is more. Otto Lilienthal was a German aviation pioneer, famously known as the Glider King. He was the first person to make repeated controlled flights with gliders, making over 2,000 successful flights during the 1890s. Lilienthal meticulously studied bird flights and applied his findings to the design of his glider. His work provided critical data on aerodynamics, particularly lift and wing shape, influencing later aviation pioneers like the Wright brothers. Tragically, he died in 1896 after a glider crash, but his legacy lives on. Otto Lilienthal's courage, scientific approach and groundbreaking experiments earned him a lasting place as one of the true forefathers of human flight. Breaking the sound barrier. Many people once thought that airplane could never fly faster than the speed of sound, but on October 14, 1947, a brave pilot named Chuck Yeager proved them wrong. He flew a special rocket-powered plane called the Bell X-1 and broke the sound barrier. From that moment, airplane could go even faster than anyone had ever imagined. How airplanes fly, the magic behind the scenes. Have you ever wondered how a giant metal airplane lifts off the ground and soars through the sky? It all comes down to a powerful force called lift. Let's take a closer look at the wings of an airplane, also known as airfoil. As the plane moves forward, air flows around the wing. The shape of the wing causes the air on the top to travel faster, while the air beneath moves slower. This speed difference creates a pressure difference, lower pressure on top and higher pressure underneath. And that's the magic. The higher pressure below pushes the wing upward, generating a force called lift. This lift is what keeps airplane in the sky, overcoming gravity and allowing us to fly across cities, countries and even oceans. The science of flight, powered by lift. Parts of airplanes. An airplane is a complex flying machine made up of several key parts that each serve an important purpose. Let's take a quick tour. First, we have the fuselage. the long central body of the airplane. It holds the passengers, cargoes, and sometimes fuels. At the front is the cockpit, where the pilot sits and controls the aircraft using a variety of instruments and controls. Next are the wings. These generate lift, the force that allows the airplane to rise off the ground and stay in the air. Attached to the wings are the engines. They provide thrust, pushing the airplane forward through the air. At the back, we see the tail, also called the empennage. It helps stabilize the airplane during the flight. The rudder, part of the vertical fin, helps the plane turn left or right, controlling side-to-side motion called yaw. The elevator controls the pitch, tilting the nose up or down to climb or descend. And on the wings, we have ailerons, which helps the airplane roll from side to side, turning it in the air. Finally, the landing gear allows the plane to take off, land, and taxi while on the ground. Each part of the airplane works together to make flight safe, smooth, and possible. So how do pilots control these amazing flying machines? Inside the cockpit, how pilots fly the plane. Welcome to the cockpit, the brain of the airplane. This is where the pilot sits and controls everything that happens during a flight. Let's begin with the primary flight display. This screen shows crucial flight data like speed, altitude, and the plane's orientation. Next is the direction finder, helps pilot know which way the plane is heading. The altitude indicator tells the pilot how high the plane is above sea level. This is the system information display. It provides status updates on engine, fuel, hydraulics, and more essentials for keeping everything running smoothly. These are the navigation control. They help guide the plane along its planned route using GPS and autopilot system. The radar displays weather patterns and other aircraft nearby, keeping the flight safe. Pilot uses the control wheel to steer the plane. Moving it changes the direction of the airplane's nose up, down, left, or right. These throttle levelers control engine power, that is the airplane's speed. Pushing them forward make the plane go faster, pulling them backward slows it down. And on the floor are the rudder and brake pedals, used to steer the nose of the plane while it's on the ground and to slow down after landing. Every button, screen, and control has a purpose. Together, they help pilot navigate safely from takeoff to landing. And now you know, flying a plane takes more than just wings. It takes a well-organized cockpit and skilled pilot at the controls. To steer the plane, pilot use these controls together. It's just like riding a bicycle around a curve. The plane has to lean into the turn. Different kinds of airplanes, from jets to seaplane. There are all kinds of airplanes. Some have powerful jet engines that help them fly fast and high. Others have propellers, like the very first airplane did. Did you know that there are even special planes that can land on water? They are called seaplanes, and they have floats instead of wheels. Another cool type of airplane is the observation plane. These planes are designed to help people see everything from above, like traffic jam or even crops that need water. And then there's the Concorde. This airplane could fly faster than the speed of sound, cutting the time it took to cross the Atlantic Ocean to just 4 hours. That's faster than a lot of people can even imagine. The body of airplane is made of lightweight material like aluminum and plastic. Every part of airplanes is carefully tested to make sure it's ready to fly at high speeds and high altitudes. Famous aviators and their adventures. Some brave pilot did some amazing things in their early days of flying. Aviation pioneers. John Alcock and Arthur Brown were British aviators who made history in June 1919 by completing the first non-stop transatlantic flight. John Alcock was a pilot and former Royal Air Force officer. Arthur Whitten Brown served as his navigator. Together, they flew a modified Vickers-Wimley bomber from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada to Clifford, Ireland in just under 16 hours. The journey wasn't easy. They faced thick fog, icy winds, and instrument failure. At one point, they even had to fly blind. But despite these challenges, they landed safely, proving that long-distance flight over ocean was possible. The groundbreaking achievement marked a major milestone in aviation history and earned them international fame. Both were knighted by King George V shortly after their flight. The Lone Eagle. Charles Lindbergh was an American aviator who became world famous in 1927 when he made the first solo non-stop flight across the Atlantic Ocean. He flew a small plane called the Spirit of St. Louis from New York, USA to Paris, France, a journey of over 3,600 miles. 5,800 kilometers in 33.5 hours, all alone with no radio. Lindbergh's courage, skills, and endurance captured the world's attention and inspired a new era of air travel. For this amazing achievement, he received the Medal of Honor and became a symbol of aviation progress. The Queen of the Skies, Amelia Earhart, was a pioneer American aviator and one of the most famous women in aviation history. In 1932, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, flying from Newfoundland, Canada to Ireland in about 15 hours. Amelia was known for her courage, determination, and love for adventure. She broke many flying records and encouraged women to follow their dreams in a time when few did. In 1937, during her attempt to fly across the world, Amelia's plane disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. Despite many searches, she was never found and her mystery remained unsolved. Today, she is remembered as a symbol of bravery and trailblazer for women in aviation and beyond. Trailblazing aviator. Amy Johnson was a pioneer British pilot who became famous in 1930 as the first woman to fly solo from England to Australia. Flying a small plane named Jason, she traveled over 11,000 miles facing dangerous weathers, mechanical problems, and challenging terrain. Her journey inspired people around the world and proved that women could achieve great things in aviation. Amy continued to break records and flew in many long-distance missions. During World War II, she served as a pilot for the Air Transport Auxiliary, helping deliver planes to the Royal Air Force. Tragically, she died in 1941 during a flight in bad weather. Still, Amy Johnson is remembered as a fearless pioneer and a role model for women in aviation. These pioneers made history and showed the world that flying was possible. Today, airplanes are more amazing than ever. With advanced technology, powerful jet engines, and skilled pilots, flying is faster, safer, and more fun than ever before. Who knows, maybe one day you will be the one soaring through the skies, breaking records and exploring the world from above. The sky is the limit, and flying is one adventure that everyone can enjoy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss our latest uploads.